Good morning, everybody. In today's video, I'm doing a post-mortem review on trade number 19 for Clorox, CLX. So today's video is the
post-mortem.
I bought too soon, and I bought pretty close to the open because I had to get out of the house pretty quick and run some errands and do things for the rest of the day. But typically, you buy the stocks between the times of, say, Central Time of 9:30 to 11 a.m., which would be New York time, 10:30 to noon. And the reason why the reason why I do this is because stocks typically trade open high, trade around with a lot of volatility, and then they sell off and go low before the noon hour. And the reason is because the managers, the hedge fund managers, the mutual fund managers, all those guys, they're constantly trading stocks. They're constantly buying in the morning in the pre-market, and they're selling off during the active hours, and then you'll watch the stocks typically tank during those particular hours. If you watch the volatility in the morning as opposed to the afternoon, you'll actually see that in the volatility of the market. The higher volume in the morning and the lesser volume in the afternoon, because in the afternoon, retail traders are still lingering about trading stocks. So the second thing I want to talk about is so I buy into strength. And I buy into strength because I want to make sure I actually have a profitable trade. And even though that mitigates loss from, say, like a trade where you buy into earnings, like I did with this one, it can still happen. So the golden rule for traders is to avoid earnings as much as possible when trading. You want to buy away from earnings as much as possible. But with the sell-off in the Clorox and the fact that they've had 4 quarters of beats, revenue, earnings, and then also some raises, I was anticipating that this would be another really good quarter and would provide a positive lift to my trade if I ever actually needed it. So I kind of sort of hedged on the positive with this trade, and I actually kind of needed it too. So 3, SoFi limit order got my trade wrong. I did sell on the day the earnings came out, so I held the trade for 8 days. But the open was 161.63. I got in at 159.56. So all I really needed was 160, but I put my sell limit order in for 160, and when the price action came in and the stock was high and opened at 161.83, SoFi kicked me out at 161.06, and I don't know why. So if you're using SoFi, you're going to get kicked out at a lower price probably. I've seen this before on a previous trade with my investments or my trades, but my large account, though, my other account that I do this in, it kicked me out properly at 161.83. So that's something to watch out for if your brokerage is not doing it correctly. Maybe you want to switch brokerages if that bothers you. For the trade results were actually really pretty good. In my large account, I garnered a good 3%. In my small account, it was 1.705%. If I had actually gotten the numbers I was looking for, it'd probably be another 50 basis points added to this. So I gained 1.705% on the trade. I was in at 159.56, out at 161.06 with a $1.22 of dividends for a total amount of $10.88 on the trade. For a total percentage gain all year long of all my trades of 24.93% versus the S&P 500 at 19.5%. And so just to kind of sort of recap a little bit, Procter & Gamble was one of my earlier trades in July. They came out with an earnings warning. I had gotten in before their earnings warning at 170.25, but I still managed to get out at 170.30. And even though they issued a warning and the stock dropped 5%, it still rebounded and still got me out on the proper time. So this is a little bit of a risky proposition, of course, but it's something to consider when you're actually trading. And I wasn't expecting earnings on Procter & Gamble at that time to not be positive, or at least not anywhere near as negative. Let's see. Over the next week, I will be not likely trading anything at all, so I won't be posting any dividend capture trade alerts, because we have an election on the 5th, and we also have Jerome Powell making his interest rate cut decision on the 7th. And their expectation is about 0.25% on the 7th for interest rate cuts, but you just never know, because Jerome Powell was saying that he didn't want to potentially cut interest rates if economic data was looking a little too good. So if we don't get the interest rate cuts, we're going to see negative movement in the market. If we get the interest rate cuts that we're looking for, we're probably not going to see a whole lot of anything. And the election results, I have no idea which way they would go with whoever wins, or how that would even work out. Sometimes it has no impact whatsoever. So with that said, I'm going to show you my trade tickets for my SoFi account, which is my small account. And I don't mind showing that information to anybody on the internet. You can look at that all you want. It's only a few $100s in there anyway. But just to show that I got skin in the game and I'm actually doing it, and I'm doing it in 2 accounts, I figured I'd actually just, kind of sort of be as genuine as possible. So with that, see you on the next one, and stay lazy.
Will we ever see each other again?
Who knows? God willing, we'll all meet again in Spaceballs 2 to search for more money.